welcome to the Daily Dragonfly. And if you tuned in last week, you would have seen me work with some fun little techniques using isopropyl alcohol. And this is one that I did the other day just for fun for me to see what I liked about using that on the technique with isopropyl alcohol on an actual dragonfly. And look how cool that is. I absolutely love it. It almost looks like little portals. You know, dragonflies spend most of their life in the water, some of them over 7 years. Then they come up onto land and their wings unfold and dry out and they take flight. So they are an aquatic and an air elemental creature. I just love them and I am so excited about this. So we're going to try and reproduce that today. So what I've done here is I've just started out with a little outline of a dragonfly, and this is really so I can see. I'm going to use the wet on wet technique where I put down the water. That's what I'm doing that for. So you can see I'm just going to go in there, and it's kind of rough. I don't really care. I'm not worried about, again, you know me, I don't worry about being perfect. This is the time for play. This is your daily dragonfly. So we're just going to lay some of that water down here within those lines. So you don't have to use the lines. It's just that when I've got the nice light on here above me for videoing this, it's hard for me to see where the water is on the paper. Okay, so now we got the water there. Now what I'm going to do is, on the example I showed you, the background was done first. So it was all done in pinks and oranges and yellows. And I'm just going to go ahead, see if I can get some of that fun layering technique here by adding some of those colors into my wings right away here. So we're just going to go ahead and put some pink down, get a stripe there. I really want to experiment to see how this technique works without having the background done first and then painting the dragonfly over it, because we achieved those beautiful, interesting depth, right? We achieved all that by having all this yummy warm color down first, and then I painted this really dark teal over it, and then put the alcohol on. So I want to see now what happens. All right, so I'm going to get some more color on here. And when I did that yesterday, it's kind of fun and important to remember what you've done when you like something, the way it turns out. So what I did there was I didn't let my painting dry overnight. I just let it dry to the point, you know, where I could work on other things around it. So I was playing with things around here and doing the background and all over that canvas while I was doing this. So we're just going to see how this works. Paint that little dragonfly body in there. I'll do some of those segments. Yeah, okay. All right. So I'm going to add some more deep pink in here because I love that opera rose. The color of the Winsor Newton. I think it's a really beautiful magenta. So I'm going to add some more of that there. I love it. All right, let me get in there. Get some of that overlap of that wing. There we go. All right, so we got a pretty nice little dragonfly there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try a different one here. Now that I've got that one down, that's water on water. So I wet the paper first. And this one I'm just going to do, I'm going to try the opposite. I'm going to lay down just some aqua paint here on a dry canvas. And we're going to make a little dragonfly, a smaller one, right? Get that little body, about like a thumbprint, and then just pull that back. All right, we're going to put a wing and a wing, keeping it nice and simple. Just one color, using that pretty aqua. All right, we'll add a little more, a little depth of color. And the reason, so this is the dry application. So this one, it's been dry paper with just paint, and this one was wet on wet. I'm going to go ahead and put another one down here. Just see how we roll while that's drying back a little bit. All right, so we're going to put you here. start with my little eyebrow balls, and then, you know, I just lay it down, more kind of like a thumbprint. Bloop, 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 some segments. And then go out and kind of push down and bring your tip up. It's okay if you go right off the paper and break the frame of reference, which is what I'm doing here when I take those wings off. I think it's just a pretty thing to do. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of having some more fun, I'm going to use a darker blue. And I'm going to draw a wing here, just like this one is off the canvas. And put a little eye. There we go. He's just happily flying down there. And that adds interest too, like when you have just a portion of something off of your paper. You can see that adds some fun interest in there. So I'm going to leave that like that. I'm going to let that dry back a little bit, just about, I don't know, 5 minutes. You can tell if it's dry by if your watercolor isn't dry, you'll feel it'll be a little cooler to the touch. So like the paper has a certain temperature, then put your hand, don't touch your paint, just hover over where it is, and you'll feel a little coolness. That means your paint isn't dry. So typically I'll let it dry overnight so I really know that it's nice and dry, but I didn't do that yesterday when I achieved those pretty results. So I'm just gonna let it dry here for about 5 minutes. And you know me, we're not gonna watch paint dry, so I'm just gonna click off here, let it dry, and then I'll be right back with showing you how we put on the isopropyl alcohol. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, we're back here now. It's just been about 5 minutes. I just let it dry. It's, you know, still probably not 100% dry, and that's just fine. What I want to do now is I'm going to paint over this one. I'm going to put on a nice shade of that aqua. So I'm going to get the shade I want. I'm going to do a little mixing over here. I got kind of a duskier. Got a little purple in there. And I'm going to make it really watery. And I'm going to go over these wings completely like that. I'm going to get a little more paint even than that, because I really want it to see what comes up from underneath with this isopropyl alcohol. And this is what I did yesterday, and I thought, well, that's not really that pretty. It's kind of dark. But then I thought, oh, I'm going to try the alcohol on it. And then I got all those delicious layers and all that beautiful movement. So we're going to go ahead. Now I made sure, just went over it a few times like that. And I'm going to go ahead and even go over the body here. You can see I could have left it just the way it was. It's quite pretty. I love all these little tiny single color dragonflies. They're beautiful. You don't need any more information than that, right? Okay, so you can see there's that. Now I'm going to bring in my alcohol. So it's just regular isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to start dripping. And I'm going to just put it. Look at that. Okay, so it's working. So what happens is, now what I think I'm going to get is a dropper, because now out of here it's not really, I don't have a lot of control. But like you say, we are playing. So it doesn't have to be perfect, right? All right, we're gonna let that dry back. Now, I think that is going to turn out really cool. I really like what's happening there. And I'm just gonna leave these guys alone. I kind of like them the way they are. Oh, what the heck. I guess I'll do one. Let's see if this does anything to the dried water. And it doesn't. So, not really. I guess there's a little bit there, maybe. I'm going to bring that up towards the camera here so you can see what's happening. So these are really starting to expand, and you can see where it opens up, and you can see some of that pretty pink underneath. So that's really kind of a pretty fun way to layer paint and try something new. It didn't have a lot of effect on the dry. There's a little bit there, but you know, it gives it a little bit of texture, but I really dig it over this. So that makes me very happy. Well, we are thinking spring, right? So here's your Daily Dragonfly. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you're like me in Minnesota and you still see snow on the ground, it's just around the corner, people. We are going to have some fabulous spring weather. All right. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you at the canvas.